इसमें it comes back to what I keep emphasizing a lot on भाई, the power and the essence of DMU. जिंदगी में ना अगर आप DMU का कॉन्सेप्ट बहुत पहले समझ लो, and if you understand that beyond everything and beyond, for everything rather, beyond a point, there is a diminishing marginal utility that will set in, है ना भाई? You then can start understanding कि बस beyond that, whatever you do, you're doing because you want to as against you have to. उसमें ज़मीन आसमान का फ़र्क है. But to understand that DMU, you also need a lot of maturity. In your journey of building mCaffeine, you have seen multiple stages, both you and Tarun. I've been very fortunate to be with you on this journey from day one. You have seen one phase where there are several types of investors who have come in, different institutional investors, large cap tables, large fundraisers. You've had a phase where company has been successful enough to get some of the best names as brand ambassadors. You have now seen another new phase of the company where there is a beautiful position of doing joint ventures and structures with very different stakeholders and creating different products as well. So the canvas keeps spreading by. Now in this canvas, if you take a step back as a founder, where do you think the essence of DMU can ever set in? Number one. Number two, why should it ever set in terms of building? Because the other outlook and the other output is कि चिंगारी जो है वो जलते रहे, तभी जाके आपको पता चलता है दूर तक कि कहाँ आपको दिख रहा है वो उजाला है कि नहीं. So you should keep that chingari constantly on. That fire in the belly has to constantly go on. But a beautiful concept what you spoke about is also appreciating the power of being slow or getting slow or taking certain things in slow strides so that you can do it for a very long time. And that's where the mindset again comes by कि हम legacy बना रहे या short term खेल रहे या मीडियम टू लॉन्ग टर्म खेल रहे हैं. हर किसी का अलग अलग है थॉट प्रोसेस होता है.
इसको भी रिवाइज करेंगे. इट्स नॉट जस्ट अबाउट बीइंग स्लो. यू कैन स्टिल बी फास्टर.
आई एग्री.
इट जस्ट दैट सो हाउ कैन यू बी मोर इमोशनली एफिशिएंट व्हाइल बीइंग फास्टर.
इसको थोड़ा ग्रैन्युलर जाओ.
सो फॉर एग्जांपल जनरली सो दैट्स व्हाट आई थिंक दिस इज exactly my biggest fear is when I talk about focusing the hustle per se. My biggest fear is the fundamental assumption is going slow at it. I'm saying let's go faster. The only thing is the amount of, so for example, anything that we need to do, it takes energy. So for example, if you have to run from here till that point of time, it takes a physical energy to get there. At the same time, when you are trying to do certain amount of things, it takes certain amount of mental energy, it takes certain amount of emotional energy. If you need to run 40 kilometers, you know that you cannot run it like a 100 meters sprint. At the same time, if you are trying to do a 40 kilometer metaphorically in a business or trying to build a team and stuff, you need to do it with a lot more equanimity, with your emotional self as well, with your mental self as well. You need to preserve that through and go. Ultimately, you need to do it 120% more. It's just that you don't have to, do random things and waste your things like that. So for example, athletes don't look like bodybuilders because they don't build muscles which are not for a purpose. That's how, if you see a swimmer, you can see by the shape of the body that the person is a swimmer. You see a runner, you can sense that it's a runner. You see a weightlifter, you sense that it's a weightlifter. And you see a bodybuilder, you see a bodybuilder. All of them are purpose built for that purpose. If you try and say that, we have a great athlete, he's a great sportsman person, he happens to be a bodybuilder and today we'll make him play table tennis. There's a lot of spent energy that is along the way. So if you want to play table tennis, let's play excellent table tennis. There's no need to build those, powerful biceps. Should we have to lift, weight, let's not build those six-pack abs because they are not necessary. So it is to that purpose. Finally, what will happen is, see again, you will have those ranges of emotions and stuff. You need to balance it out. Again, so people are again critical. So mCaffeine, by the way, is a beautiful story. So
tell us a bit about.
So not just so for example, it's not just about me and Tarun. So we also have these other partners. Saurabh, Mohit, Vaishali. They have been with us since day one, right? And I would say that everything is so close knit, and it has been a long while. I mean, it's in startup parlance, it has been forever, and that also helps, right? So what happens is when somebody is going through a particular cycle and stuff, somebody else takes over and somebody else's ambitions kick in, and that thing goes on forever. So it's a beautiful team story as well that way, where people.
So here also people play a huge role.
Always. So basically, there's nothing in my life which is without people. So maybe your show will keep on getting more boring if I repeat the same thing.
I think it's going to be more important because the emphasis what you're trying to do is to bring across the different relations that come into play in terms of people playing roles of lifeboats and people again in different forms. In this case now you're talking about forms in terms of co-founders or forms in terms of partners in a business, which also has an equal amount of importance, like you were talking about with respect to family a little while.
Absolutely. So that comes in very, very handy, right? Because you have that level of trust, you have that level of faith, you sleep more peacefully. At the same time, basically, collectively you try to achieve a lot more what you could have do it otherwise individually, right? So you need to create those spaces where people can thrive every which ways, and you become a part of that thriving ecosystem per se as well. So that's how it has to run, and that is true for any ecosystem.
So did this change as a mindset over the stages of mCaffeine? You just now mentioned that it's a beautiful story. I have been a part of that beautiful story. I'm very protective about the story, as you know as well. Right. So let's take a little bit of that story, maybe 2-3 minutes of talking about that, and right from the beginning till where you are now, how much of mindset has evolved as a founder?
See, basically it has been a very long time, right? We are talking about
अब हो गया 16 से लेके 23,
right? 16 से लेकर 23. So it's been a significant amount of time, and even in this, people change, right? Every 7 years there is a different human being altogether. There is no similarity between a 7-year-old kid and a 14-year-old kid, and there is no similarity between a 14-year-old adolescent and basically a 21-year-old youth. And there is no similarity between a 21-year-old youth versus somebody is trying to set up a family at 28, and by 35 they are already engrossed that I have family, maybe some kids as well, the parents have started aging, now have a different responsibility by 42. So every 7 years there is a completely different human being. So in this journey we all started together, and we all are a new human being all together. In that process everybody evolves. See, we all evolve every day, and in that life cycle, so it is so anybody who assumes that we will not evolve, they are basically you have to factor in that change, right?
Stagnation leads to death.
Stagnation needs death, right? So this has to be there. That growth has to be there. We learn every day, we unlearn every day, we grow every day, we mature every day. It's a collective process, and ultimately, अगर आप सोच के देखो, that is the endeavor, right? Ultimately, what is it for? Right? This is for a particular purpose, but that purpose is to live a life, right? That life we are living every day. Correct. So the problem with the destination mindset is कि एक बार तो कहीं पहुंचेंगे किधर, but जैसे आप बोल रहे थे ना, छोटी-छोटी चीजें, these are the thing, right? So
the small wins matter the most.
So this day is also granted by somebody, right? कि आज का दिन है, we can sit here and talk. So that we are blessed with that day. That day has come from somebody. Absolutely. Might as well take that day, right?
Absolutely. So that in that journey keeps emphasizing different aspects. By अब